Welcome to OOO, an out of ordinary podcast where we dig deep into case studies and the nitty gritty of Web3 marketing. You'll find here all the amazing people that are building Web3, so stick to us as we address their marketing secrets and learn how to build amazing products and brands. Hello everyone, I'm Alex, your fellow Web3 marketer and the host on Out of Ordinary podcast. This is episode 37. Let me introduce you to my guest. Vijay Pravin is the founder and CEO of bitsCrunch, a blockchain analytics and forensics company focusing on securing the NFT ecosystem. To date, they have raised more than $6.5 million from prominent Web3 VCs such as Coinbase, Ventures, Animoca Brands, Chainlink, Polygon, Crypto.com Capital, Gate.io Labs, Gravity, Hansky Capital, Borderless Capital, and a few others. He is the first Indian to be invited for a TED Talk in Germany below 30, has been awarded as top 40 data scientist under 40 in India, and has been nominated as 20 plus inspiring data scientist to follow on LinkedIn in 2020 by AI Time Journal from the US. Hi Vijay, how are you?
I'm really good. Thanks for having me, Alexi. How are you?
I'm great. It's been a pretty full day today, but I'm really happy that we're getting to do this. And to kind of kick it off, could you maybe tell us a bit about yourself, how you got into Web3, and a bit about bitsCrunch, your role, and what inspired you to start the blockchain analytics firm for the NFT space?
Yeah, sure. So myself, Vijay Pravin, originally from India, but living in Munich, Germany for the last 10 years. I mean, right now it's Oktoberfest season. It is ending today, and it's been my countless number of visits to Oktoberfest since I came here. And I am the founder and CEO of bitsCrunch. We are an NFT analytics and forensics company. But before I started at bitsCrunch, I came here to do my master's in Germany, and then I worked for companies like Volkswagen and Siemens, two German massive entities, OGs in the Web2 space, before I founded bitsCrunch with my friends and colleagues. And it's been a 2 years of reverting journey. It's been a great journey looking back, because we have raised $6.5 million so far, and it's not about the money, but then from where. So we are backed by some of the best names like Coinbase Ventures, Animoca Brands, Polygon, Chainlink, Hansky Capital, Gate Labs, Crypto.com Capital. So the list goes on, and I'm really humbled and glad to be here at your podcast, which is what you're doing a great job. I've happened to hear a couple of previous episodes, and you are killing it in short. So yeah, happy to be here. Thanks.
Thank you, and congrats for having so many important names backing you up.
Yeah, I mean it's not happened overnight. I mean you know the key to success, right? You know the key to success. So it's one leads to the other, right? One step at a time. That is always what I say to my boys and girls in the team. And one led to the another, and we have got a stellar cap table. And it is not about the cap table alone. We have got chance to work with some of the Fortune 500 companies like Mastercard, KPMG, Deloitte, EY, which is what is more pleasing than the cap table. So yeah.
We're gonna get into that as well, but before I wanna talk about something, because you guys are very close to a token launch, and I wanted to ask if you can give us some insights into what is this token, what does it represent, and how does it tie into your mission?
Mm-hmm. So we wanted to create a decentralized data network. Right, and that is the primary goal. So if you look at the forensic side of crypto, there are some of the really great players, industry stalwarts, I would say. They are building in this space, like chain analysis and elliptic, for instance. And then there are so many smart contract auditors like Certic, Halborn, Beckshield, and so many players who are fighting scams and security audits when it comes to the smart contracts. But if you look at the common feature, most of them, or pretty much all of them, are centralized in a way. So if, as a layman, if somebody wants to get their hands on the forensics data, they have to go talk to the BD, talk to the team, get the API keys, pay a lump sum amount, and then they figure out what happened on their smart contract, what happened to their investments. So rather, we spotted this as a gap in the market, and we wanted to build something decentralized. So that is what the token revolves around. So anybody in this world with just a wallet, they can connect their wallet onto the bitsCrunch network, and then they can simply query the data, as simple as possible.
This is quite interesting. You guys also act as a bridge between Web 2 and Web 3. As you already mentioned, like some pretty big names that you guys are working with. Could you maybe elaborate on this role and how you facilitate this transition?
So, bridging, yes. I mean, when I say Mastercards, EY, Deloitte, and KPMG, bridging, when I mean bridging, we provide data, what is happening in the digital asset space, to the Web2 players, like the main auditors, the big fours of the world. Because let's say Alexandra, who is trying to sell an API, Bored Ape, let's say a monkey picture, and all of a sudden you are trying to get $200,000 or $300,000 into your bank account. You are trying to off-ramp it. And that is when banks are scared. Because you as a person, you are withdrawing a salary, you have a pattern of a salary, day in and day out, or monthly check or whatever. And then all of a sudden you draw a salary which is massive. So banks, they don't have a clue. They go to the big fours. They go to the big auditors in the space. And to be honest, big fours, they don't have a clue about what is happening in the NFT space, what is happening in the digital asset space. And that is where we come in. So they come to bitsCrunch, they inspect what we are doing in the space, what value we provide, what data sets that we have, and they sort of not just come to bitsCrunch, but they go to Chain Analysis, Elliptic, and all the other providers in the market, and they summarize it into a report, which will later be published or given away to the banks, which wanted the data in the first place. So in a way, we sort of be the middleman, where we wanted to onboard a retail user with the help of data. They will be really more comfortable. And on the other hand, we wanted to be the bridge between the institutions that wants to get into the crypto space.
I think this makes a lot of sense, and I think it's quite easily explained the way you said it. So I wanted to thank you for that. And another recent achievement of yours is that you have been selected for the EY Startup Program. Can you first of all tell us like what is that? It's like you told me, but maybe you can tell our audience as well. And how has this impacted your branding, growth, and development?
Yeah, sure. I mean, EY, Ernst and Young, it's one of the big fours in the industry. They're obviously one of the top hundreds when it comes to the Fortune 500 companies in the world, and to get selected for their startup program means a lot because EY Germany, it is EY Germany. We are talking to EY team in Frankfurt, Germany. So they select 8 to 10 startups every year, and we are really humbled and glad to be part of this particular cohort, which started already last week, and it extends till end of this year. And we get a chance to sit and talk to the EY experts, sit and talk to the auditors, compliance, and regulatory teams in EY, which is something that we are really looking forward. A couple of sessions were already over. We feel like already we got a lot of value out of the program, but there is still a lot of topics to be discussed. So we get a chance to expand to the EY business circle as well. The chances of our data getting used or being explored by a lot of customers that EY has is what we are really looking forward. And yeah, so far so good. And we are really excited to be in such a program.
Can you first of all like explain a bit more into like what is this program about? Because I think that's pretty interesting. And at the same time, do you think it kind of like um, helps grow your credibility or say or your brand in the space? Especially because I'm guessing Web3 companies would trust you or like would be easier for them to trust you because like you're a Web3 company, obviously, but for like maybe Web2 company looking to get this kind of data from you, for example, like do you think this program helps build that trust?
So obviously, yes. I mean, Web3 companies are like a drop in the ocean at this point in time, right? If you look at the whole space, there are like very few hand-picked names that you can say. Like look at Coinbase, look at Binance, look at a couple of names here and there, like Consensus, MetaMask, and a couple of others that are really a standout names in the market. So obviously, collaborating with a firm like EY is good for the company, good for the branding of bitsCrunch, right? I mean, when we announced this news, we got a lot of traction, to be honest, and our Twitter just blew up. We got like massive traction on Twitter and a community which is always looking forward to what is next, right? That is something that I'm really grateful for the community, and the program revolves around a lot of stuff. So we talk about compliance, we talk about legal, we talk about audit, we talk a lot about data. So data is the new oil, right? I mean, if you look at the top 10 companies of the world right now, there is Google, there is Facebook, which is Meta now, and then Amazon, Microsoft, IBM. If you look at the commonality, every particular company revolves a lot around data. So most of their businesses revolve a lot around data, be it text data, be it image, be it video, right? These are the determining factors of the current world. And fortunately, we are in this Web3 space in the data side of things, which could blow up in the coming years. I mean, that is what we hope, and we rely on, and that is why we are building in spite of the market cycles. But overall, EY as such, their exposure will only strengthen our space in the market, and I'm really looking forward to what is going to come in the next months.
For sure, and I also think it's quite interesting and it's quite nice that like such big companies are supporting initiatives in the Web3 space because it kind of, I think it gives the space a bit more credibility. Let's say, as everybody's been complaining about like how things are going lately, and I'm always like very happy to hear about like such programs. And yeah, anyway, like supporting Web3 founders and startups and kind of doing a bit of this bridge. And I think that's something that is of big interest for like a lot of people that are in my audience, for example, and as me as well, are companies that are transitioning from like Web 2 to Web 3. And here I wanted to ask if you have some notable examples of big companies that have embraced this transition, and maybe that you have also helped or assisted in this journey.
So one thing is they sort of give a point of contact on each organization. So no matter what firms that we worked with or working with in the space right now, like for instance Mastercard, EY, they put us in touch with a lot of customers of theirs, a lot of partners internally, various heads who could actually help us groom a lot. So just for your information, there was a topic on expanding the business or scaling the business, and look at it. I mean, when it comes from EY, that is really gonna help us scale big because they have done it, and EY, for instance, they have 400,000 employees across the globe. So if they come and say or give a session on how to scale the business, how to expand the business, that will only help bitsCrunch, right? So these are the things that we look forward in this program. And like you said, companies like Mastercard, EY, KPMG, Deloitte, they don't really have to do this amidst their busy schedules or work that they have, but they wanted to step in, explore Web3, and the best way to do it is to work with the founders in the space, right? So it's a win-win for them as well, because they want to also ride the wave in this wonderful technology which is evolving.
For sure. Something else that I think is like a very important for anybody in the Web3 space is like the veridicity of assets, let's say. So dealing with fake assets is a critical issue, as we all know it. Can you explain how bitsCrunch acts as a police of NFTs, as you call it, and safeguards for this ecosystem?
Yeah, sure. So when it comes to NFTs, most of the NFTs people bought in this space or because of FOMO, fear of missing out, or friends referring to buy an NFT. That is probably the biggest couple of reasons why people bought NFTs in the last cycle. But when we look at it from a 360-degree perspective, we found a lot of scams. We found a lot of fake malicious activities going on in this space. So just to name a few, wash trading is one, where people flip tokens. Let's say Alexandra is buying an NFT for $50, and you sell it to Vijay for $100, and Vijay sells it back to Alexandra for $200, and then you do it back for $500. So just within a span of, let's say, 5 to 10 minutes, we have transacted and made an NFT go from $50 to $500, which actually means nothing, right? Because people don't really know what's happening at the back end, right? It's like early days of mobile phone. I still remember the early days of mobile phone come with a manual where they have a booklet which says go to the settings, go to display, change this, change that. And now do we get a display? Do we get a manual? Definitely not. So since the space is very early, people are trying to fake an asset going from $50 to $500. I mean, this is one such example of wash trade, but we have identified 11 plus patterns. So that is one malicious activity going on in this space. And the second one is obviously the copy minting. Let's say if Vijay mints an NFT on OpenSea today, Alexandra or let's say Albert or anybody in this world can actually do a right click, save as an image, and they can mint the same NFT on a different blockchain or a different marketplace. Blockchain doesn't stop it. That is the unfortunate case of blockchain, because it is image, right? It is not just a text. If it is a text, blockchain will know if it has happened before. But since it's an image and it is being stored in IPFS or centralized servers like Amazon or Google, blockchain doesn't know that. And we also look into the copycats of it. So this is where we help brands protect their IP. So let's say McDonald's or Starbucks have their NFTs. We detect what are the actual NFTs and what are the fake NFTs. So let's say if Vijay tries to buy a fake Starbucks NFT, we give an alert. We sort of alert an user saying, hey, that's a fake NFT. You should look into it more cautiously. So that is why we call ourselves police of NFTs, because we look at 360-degree perspective of every single NFT on chain. And right now, today, we scale across 4 chains: Ethereum, Polygon, Avalanche, and Binance. And we are expanding to other important chains in the space.
You've also touched on the pricing, and I think that's a pretty important matter as well, because your collaboration with DappRadar for NFT price estimation has gained a lot of attention. Could you maybe share some more about this partnership and its significance for you and for the space as well?
Yeah, sure. So DappRadar, obviously one of the blue chip customers we have, and uh, that is exactly what we are building in this space. The earlier example that I mentioned, where people wanted to be collaborative, it is possible with decentralized applications. So we want DappRadar to use on top of what we are building. We want chain analysis. We want Dune Analytics or Nansen to build something on top of us, right? And since we know what is the wash trade quantity, wash trade amounts that are in the space, since we know what are the fake assets going around in the space, we came up with an AI powered pricing. So the artificial intelligence that the world talks about now, and we use AI not just for the sake of using AI, but we use it since the inception of bitsCrunch. So how we come up with this pricing is we use 50 plus KPIs, key performance indicators, like the past history of sales, past owners, is there any wash trades, is the asset real or fake, where it is stored, is it IPFS, is it centralized server. So we sort of have a scoring internally, and then we do a fair pricing based on AI, which is what DappRadar is using. So when an industry market leader like DappRadar is coming out there and using our tool, that is a very good validation for what we are building. And it also tells the need for such a product in the market, right? Because DappRadar, they have tons of data when it comes to the decentralized applications in the market, and they rely on a lot of NFT data from bitsCrunch. So yeah, there you go. So you partner with an industry leader, and then your data is getting seen by millions of users in the space.
Yeah, I think like one of the things that I love about like Web3 is the co-partnerships or the partnerships in the space, because I think like companies in this space like rely a lot more on partnerships, and I think this is one of the things that I love the most. And I was even talking to a friend of mine about it today. Yeah. Something else that I also wanted to touch on was the fact that you guys have also been featured in a Mastercard article about growing and securing the blockchain economy. What are some key insights or contributions that you guys have provided to this initiative?
Mastercard, yes, yes. I mean, they were one of the earlier partners that we used to work with. We were building a POC, proof of concept, for Mastercard. So what we did with Mastercard is we wanted to enable an alert system for users who try to buy NFTs. Because if you look at the market right now, you can buy NFTs using MetaMask, where you on ramp, off ramp money using MoonPay. But we wanted to build a Mastercard integration. Mastercard is trying to chip into the NFT space sooner or later in the next cycle, and that is when anybody like Vijay or Alexandra, anybody can buy an NFT using payment gateways like Mastercard, Visas, and PayPal's of the world. And that is when a user tries to buy an NFT using Mastercard payment gateway, if you click buy button, it goes and checks for bitsCrunch APIs, where it checks for the authenticity of an NFT. It checks if an NFT is wash traded, if an NFT is overpriced, if an NFT is a copied asset, and so on. So in a way, we provide the credit card alert system that is existing in the world today. So let's say if Alexandra is living in Europe, and if you're traveling to the US or Dubai for a conference, the moment you swipe your card at the airport terminal, you get an alert, right? Hey Alexandra, this looks like a malicious transaction. Is it you? So they ask this question through a message or sometimes through call. So that is exactly what we were all set to provide for Mastercard. But then because of the market turmoil, it is currently under hold. But I mean, as the market slowly start picking up, we might do this with Mastercard again.
The Unleash NFT platform is pretty intriguing, at least to me. Could you maybe tell us more about its purpose and how it aligns with bitsCrunch's mission?
Yeah. So UnleashNFTs.com, that is the B2C platform that we built. It is more like a coin market cap slash coin gecko for NFTs in the space. And it is not just about data analytics, but it also has forensics, which is very unique in the space. So we provide insights on what NFTs are real, what NFTs are fake, what assets are wash traded, and so on, right? So there are NFT market as such is worth billions of dollars, and we already provide a real robust solution for end users. Like you and me can be the users of the platform. So right now the platform is free. Anybody can use it. All you have to do is just log on to www.unleashnfts.com, and that is where you look at amazing insights, charts, and you also have the option to get the API keys on the platform itself. Let's imagine a case where you are a developer yourself, where you know how to code, you know how to play around with the data, and then all you have to provide is an email ID. You have to connect your wallet, provide an email ID. I mean, if you think privacy is a concern, you can provide your secondary or third degree email address to get the API keys, and API keys are generated instantly. So in a way, you get the API keys and you have the API docs in the platform. So anybody who is a techie can directly deep dive into a bulk of data, terabytes of data, right? We have data from 4 chains: Ethereum, Polygon, Avalanche, and Binance for now. So anybody who is a techie can directly chip in, start using our APIs, can plug in charts on their platform. Let's say if you are building an amazing product in this space, all you have to do is query the data from bitsCrunch and then plug it somewhere, right? So yeah, these are the options that we provide for end users. It is not just for the end users, even institutions can use it. Some of the investors, some of the institutions are also using it at the moment, but we are slowly picking up.
Something I wanted to ask you is like regarding the NFT fluctuation in the space, let's say, because I feel like some people have been like pretty, or like some projects, they like some of the NFTs, they don't really have any more value. Some projects have built NFTs, but they don't really have a lot of utility. I think NFTs still present like they could be very valuable if used correctly. But I think, at least from what I can see, I think it's a wishy-washy situation there. I think people are still trying to figure out like how to move forward, especially once we'll get towards the end of the bear market, and they'll have to have like a proper business plan on how they can maybe monetize that and move the project forward. And I wanted to ask you, like, how do you see this NFT category of Web3 moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, speculation. Come on, speculation is everywhere. You look at the broader crypto space. People speculate a lot. People speculate a lot of ETFs getting approved in the next weeks or months. That is the talk going around, and people are now glued to the screens because of SBF trial, which is happening starting today, right? Which can dictate the terms. And it is not just crypto, believe me. I remember a point where one of the famous footballers, Cristiano Ronaldo, he just moved a Coke bottle away from the table, and then the Coke shares fell like 7 to 10% the same day, right? So it's not just about the crypto. It is the human mentality where we speculate if things might go wrong, right? Because we own a bulk of shares across industries, across platforms, and if something happens, people try to panic. People panic. People try to sell the shares, thinking that it might go wrong or it might go bad, right? And even with Elon Musk, sometimes his tweets can dictate terms. His tweets can bring a lot of value into the market or take away a lot of chunk of money from the market. So speculation is everywhere, and I would say NFTs are more like babies that are crawling in the market right now. And speculation will be much more in the NFT space because it is new. It is a new asset class. And as the market tries to settle down, mature a lot, that is when people realize where to invest, where not to invest. Right, look at Pudgy Penguins. They started as an NFT project. The IP was acquired by Luca Nets, the founder, and then he has now sort of revolutionized the Pudgy Penguins and taken it to the new level. Pudgy Penguins launched on Amazon, collected $500,000 within a couple of days, and then they launched on Walmart stores, 2,000 Walmart stores. That's literally close to 50% of Walmart stores in the US. So now you start getting a feel of what is the utility of an NFT, which will dictate the terms, which will dictate the pricing in the coming cycles.
It makes sense, and I'm actually very curious to see if you're right and if speculation is still going to be there, or it's going to be a lot more utility versus speculation. But maybe like they actually go hand in hand. I really don't know. Something I wanted to ask you was regarding like what kind of companies they can benefit of the data that you provide, and like or like individuals. But I know like you mostly work with you're like more for B2B, let's say. So what kind of companies can come and access the kind of data that you provide, and how can they use it actually?
Yeah, it's pretty much the A to Z of NFTs, right? Let's say NFT lending protocols, because they need to know the actual value of an NFT before giving a loan to a person or a wallet. So they need to know the forensic side of NFTs, because they are giving loan to a fake asset or a real asset is something that they need to know. And institutions, which is what we are providing, companies in the space like TapRadar, Unstoppable Domains, they are using our APIs. And retail users like people like you and me, they can access our data, they can build charts on top of what they are building. And speculators, traders, artists. So artists can protect their IP, right? If there is a famous artist who constantly create NFTs one after the other, and if he wants to protect his or her IP, that is when they need our data, they need our forensics. And it's the same for the brands. Let's say if Starbucks is coming into the NFT space tomorrow, they can rely on our forensics, they can rely on our forensics data, where we say what are the fake Starbucks assets circulating in the market. So thereby they can go and cache them, or let's say flag them as a malicious asset. So yeah, in general, the A to Z is when it comes to NFT space.
I think right now that you told me about it, I think it makes a lot more sense why you call yourself the police of NFTs. And I was actually recording an episode yesterday, and we were talking so much about the social impact of companies in Web3 especially. And I feel like what you guys do comes with with a lot of impact long term. It's not just there to like, it's not money making machine, let's say. Is there for like the longer term, the longer purpose of the space, and that's something I truly admire about you guys.
Thanks a lot. I mean, building infrastructure is something that goes hand in hand with the projects, right? We need a lot of data. We need a lot of Pudgy Penguins. We need a lot of Bored Apes and CryptoPunks in the market, so that our data becomes valuable, right? Because when the data makes no sense, then there is no value for bitsCrunch. But as more and more blue chip projects come into this space, as more and more artists, more and more builders build in this space, that is when our data becomes much more valuable and much more meaningful. And that is when all the big fours, all the institutions can also make use of it. So yeah, it goes hand in hand. As good as projects that we wish and evolve in this space, we that is when our work gets intense, works get meaningful.
As we spoke a lot about data, what kind of data is essential for different NFT projects, and like what should companies should be looking at?
So it varies from case to case, right? Like I said, for lending protocols, all they care about is pricing. Is the asset real or fake? is the fair price, is this the fair price of NFTs? Because they cannot be giving a loan of $500,000 for an NFT which is worth nothing, right? Because they end up as a failure at the end of the day. So pricing is one key feature that people are looking at, institutions are looking at. And then, for instance, IP protection. Brands are concerned about their IPs in the space. So that is when brand like Hermes, the women handbag brand, so they filed a lawsuit against a Meta Birkin's NFT collection, because that NFT collection minted a lot of NFTs, which is actually an IP of brand Hermes. So they won the lawsuit in the US, and the court asked the Meta Birkin's NFT to shut shop, and they have to pay $1 million fine for the brand Hermes. So this is where brands, in this case, they want to know the originality or authenticity of an image of an NFT. And on the other hand, for projects who are building in this space, they would rely on analytics for the most time. They would love to know what are the amount of players playing in the game. Gaming developers need a lot of analytics. They would love to know how much time have been spent on a game using this wallet, how much money has been spent. So they don't have this data in-house. So it varies from case to case. And like I said, we cater to the needs of A to Z when it comes to the NFT space.
Something else you mentioned to me is the fact that you guys have been using AI, and I wanted to ask, like, how does the use of artificial intelligence help the accuracy of data and ultimately help secure the NFT space?
So one good thing about AI is not new, right? AI is been with us for at least a decade or even more. I would say 2 decades. AI being talked about a lot in the past years, but it erupted because of the recent products, right? Like ChatGPTs and Google Bard elevated the use of AI. So we have a plethora of data. We have immense amount of data, terabytes of data, and to build AI on top of this data makes a lot more sense, and that is what we use. So we use AI to detect wash trade patterns. We train the computer to detect unusual patterns in the space. If, let's say, somebody is trying to fake something in the space, AI detects it much faster than a human being. So that is why we use AI there. And for pricing, the example that I mentioned for DAppRadar, it is an AI powered pricing, because the current market relies on floor price. And floor price to me is one of the dumbest metric ever in the NFT space. You shouldn't look at. And AI powered pricing includes a lot of attributes, a lot of past history of sales, the current history, the owners, wash trade, and so on. So AI powered pricing, I wish that becomes an industry standard in the coming years, which is also what we produce at bitsCrunch, which is being consumed by DAppRadar. So AI is not just bits and pieces in bitsCrunch, but we use AI since the beginning, since we started bitsCrunch.
What is something that you think helped you kind of establish your name in the space, kind of establish your brand? As we are obviously on a Web3 marketing podcast, and I feel like we've given a lot of information, which I think a lot of my listeners have been asking, especially to kind of explain this kind of how do you call that, information or terms, let's say. But I wanted to ask, like, when it comes to branding and like, especially because like doing marketing, let's say for like a to B2B, it's a bit more complicated than doing it B2C. What do you think helped you be successful in the space?
Branding and marketing, I mean, that's that's not my cup of tea, but glad that I had the right people, a right set of people like yours in the team, who helped us grow from the scratches, from zero to now. We have over 100,000 users across our social handles, which is actually massive, because our strongest base is Discord, where we have close to 35,000 users. And we have a strong Twitter as well, again similar numbers, 35,000 users on Twitter. and across other socials like surprisingly LinkedIn. For instance, LinkedIn, no Web3 companies focuses on a lot on LinkedIn, but glad it worked for us. We have almost 13,000 followers on LinkedIn, which is very more professional, right? Far more professional than the other platforms. And put together the rest like Instagram, Threads, Facebook, newsletters, and others. Cumulatively, we have over 100,000 users in the market that looks at what we are building day to day. And it doesn't happen overnight, right? We are building since 2021. It took us a lot of effort. We did a lot of podcasts like this. We did a lot of AMAs. We did a lot of in real life events, IRL. We did a lot of Twitter spaces. We hosted a lot of giveaways. We printed a lot of t-shirts, mugs, and so on. So it is not just one or two things that brought this community, but I would rather say it's a mix of both physical and virtual world activities that we did for the last 2 years. And one thing that I can say is you have to be consistent, because this space has ton of projects and people can easily forget what you're building the very next minute or the very next month. So you have to constantly engage your community in some or other ways. That is what gladly we did in the past, and we will do in the future. So yeah, that is something that it is a tough nut to crack. But yeah, there are so many amazing companies who have cracked it in the past.
For sure, it is a tough space, and I can say from experience. But I think that's the beauty of it, I guess. One of the last things I want to ask you is regarding like resources. I won't be asking you about like marketing tools that you guys are using, because you're probably maybe not the best person to answer that. But like I was wondering if you maybe know some resources that you can recommend anybody to learn more about the Web3 space.
When it comes to resources, there are again plenty of resources in the market. To start with, I would say learn from the industry leaders, right? Look at Coinbase, for instance. They are one of the publicly listed companies from the US, and they have a really good library. They have a really good pool of resources where somebody can learn Web3, somebody can learn NFTs. And Binance also have Binance Academy. It has Binance Academy, which is really good. And then OpenSea has tons of information when it comes to NFTs, right? But then there are a lot of podcasts, for instance. One is this, of course, and then there are other good ones like the ones from A16Z is a good one. Bankless podcast is a good one. And then newsletters is another way of learning things. Milk Road is a good newsletter. Blog is a good newsletter. So there are plenty of resources out there, and one has to constantly chip in, listen, read things in the space day in and day out, so that they can slowly gain momentum. They can slowly gain knowledge in a matter of weeks and months.
Thank you for that. I think these are pretty useful resources. And one of the last things I want to ask you is, of course, where can people find you?
Twitter, Vijay Pravin Maharajan, or at the rate of Vijay Pravin with M at the end, Monaco, M for Monaco. And LinkedIn is sort of overloaded. I'm being followed by more than 50,000 people there on LinkedIn. So if people cannot get hold of me on Twitter, then LinkedIn is the next best way.
Thank you so much, Vijay, again. It's been a pleasure, and looking forward to speaking to you soon.
Yeah, sure. It's been a wonderful podcast. One of the really good ones that I've been part of. Would really love to come as a host again, come as a guest once again. But yeah, thanks for having me in the first place. Thanks.
We'll chat again for sure. Have a nice day and speak soon.
Yeah, talk soon. Thanks.
Thank you so much for listening to our Out of Ordinary podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and you would like to hear more content like this, then open up the podcast app and click on the follow or subscribe button. It takes less than 5 seconds and is the single best thing you can do to support the show and stay up to date to more marketing strategies that are being used in the Web3 space.